Hey guys, today we're going to be making the pancakes. I know we've already done it in class, but this recipe is just for your reference if you guys want to do it at home, okay? So here's what we're going to need. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, don't confuse it with baking soda. We're going to need 1.25 cups of milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, and an egg, and that's our base. And you can sort of add and subtract, or you can add as you go on later, but this is our base pancake recipe. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna measure out our butter. So if you look here, so it tells you the butter is right there. So a stick is about 8 tablespoons of butter. So we need 3, so we're gonna go right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna melt this butter. So first let's just get our 3 tablespoons. That's right there, okay. So you're gonna put it into a microwave safe dish, or you can do it on the stove top in a small saucepan if you don't have a microwave. Okay, so we're gonna pop this in for 15-20 seconds, see what it looks like. The reason we do this first is I want the butter to cool down before we add it to the egg and the milk mixture. If we add hot butter to eggs and milk, it's gonna curdle the milk and it's gonna start to cook the egg, which we do not want. So while we're doing this, we got our skillet over here on the stove top. So we're just gonna start warming that up, so when our pancake batter is ready, we can come right over here and do it, okay? Perfect, so let's see how our butter's doing. Okay. Butter's perfect. Make sure it's melted all the way or it's not gonna fully incorporate into the batter. So just make sure it's good. Okay, so now we come back to our workstation. So you'll see I have 2 different bowls. One of these is for the dry ingredients, one of these is for the wet ingredients. And then we're gonna combine them. You always wanna do wet and dry separate, okay? So we're done with the butter, we're gonna move that off to the side. So right now we are going to get 1.5 cups of flour. So this is a 1 cup. 1 cup is the biggest one you're gonna find basically in the metal version, okay? So you want to get in there, and then you can start to smooth it out, and then sort of just level it off. You can use a butter knife, whatever. Just make sure it's 1 level scoop, okay? Right in there. Okay, so now we're going to get our 1/2 cup. Okay, 1/2 cup. We're going to level it right off. Perfect, just like that. So that's 1.5 cups of flour, okay? At this point, I'm going to add the 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and then we're going to whisk it really well just to get it incorporated. So, teaspoon, tablespoon, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon. That's basically what all the sizes are on all these. So it should just say right on the handle what you need. Okay, so that's 1 teaspoon. Okay, that's 2 teaspoons. So just pack it down, level it off. And that is our 3 teaspoons. So let's put that aside real quick. Okay, so we're just gonna whisk it up really good just to get the baking powder. If you don't whisk it up really good, sometimes you get a mouthful of baking powder. It's not the best flavor. So sort of get that mixed in there. Okay, so we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of white sugar at this point. Remember, tablespoon is the big one. So some people like a sweeter pancake, so you can add extra sugar. I like mine to be more like mild tasting, so I'm not gonna add extra sugar today. So there we go, we got our tablespoon of sugar in there. So we're just gonna whisk that in. Okay, so we also need salt, table salt. Just regular iodized table salt, okay? You don't need, I guess you can use like kosher salt, but it's just not going to dissolve as well in the mixture, okay? So 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, that's our teaspoon, right in there. Okay, so this is all we need for dry ingredients. We're just gonna give this a good whisk. Make sure it's all mixed up. If you have a sifter at home, you can absolutely run it through the sifter. It actually leads to a little bit better texture on the pancake. Okay, so that's our dry ingredients. So for wet ingredients, guys, 1 cup of milk. You can use 2%, you can use almond milk, anything you have at home, okay? So 1 cup. Okay, 1/4 cup. Okay, in the bowl. Okay, so we're gonna use 1 egg. Oh, I think I got a little shell there. Okay, 1 egg. And now at this point, we're gonna add our melted butter, okay? So this is cooled down a little bit. It should be fine to add now. Okay, so there's our melted butter. You can use the same whisk. So first thing, just break the yolk. Just get that yolk broken, number 1. And then you're gonna start whisking. So this doesn't have to be whisked like unbelievably well. You just need to get it broken up and mixed together, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys why it's important. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients, not vice versa. If you add the dry into the wet, it just sort of floats on top and it's not gonna mix very well. So it just becomes a pain. So always add your wet into your dry. So right in. Then we're gonna mix it. And then we're gonna go from there and see what our batter looks like. I'll show you the consistency we're looking for. This looks pretty good right now. It looks a little dry, so I might add some more milk in a bit, but let's just mix it and see where we're at. Yep, so we're gonna just add a little bit more milk. Okay, so add it about like a tablespoon at a time until you get the consistency you want. So we're just gonna keep mixing, get all that stuff off the sides. Okay, so you see how it's loosening up a little bit? We still need a little bit more milk. So the longer your pancake batter sits like on the counter, it's going to take a little bit more moisture to come back to the consistency. The flour is going to soak up a lot of the moisture. Looking pretty good right there. It doesn't have to be super smooth, guys. If there's lumps in the pancake batter, not the end of the world. They're gonna cook out, okay? So I just want that a little bit wetter. Okay. So after I get this perfect, I'll show you guys exactly what it should look like, okay? All right, so that is looking great right there. This is looking like a really good consistency. You want it, if you're using a whisk, just lift your whisk up. It should run off the whisk, basically. It should have a little bit of stick, but not a lot, honestly. Like, this is really good right here. This is honestly perfect. Okay, so we got our batter done. We're just gonna grab a quick ladle. Okay. I'll just do like just show it to the guys. Okay, so let's go over to the stove. We got our batter made. Okay. So we're at the stove. That feels warm enough. So you can use anything to grease this. You can use a little bit of oil. You can use butter. I happen to have a little bit of extra bacon grease today, so I'm just going to use that. Mm-hmm. So just sort of spoon that in. Okay. I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit, just because we're making it. So just let swirl the grease of the butter around. Make sure the butter's melted if you're using it. You just want a nice little coating on the bottom. Okay, the easiest thing to do is bring your bowl with you. That way you don't drop it all over the counter. And we're just gonna put a nice scoop right in the middle. And gravity should do the work on this one. The pancake will start to flatten out after a couple minutes. So now, don't touch it, don't do anything with it, just watch it. We're looking for, within a couple minutes, bubbles will start to form on top of the pancake, and that'll start to tell you that the other side is getting done and you can flip it. So you can see how the bacon grease is starting to sizzle. Yep, so we're just gonna let our pancake be. The only thing at this point is sort of just make sure it's not gonna stick. That's always a good thing to check. So pancake is cooking very well. You can already start to see small bubbles starting to form right there. By the time you flip it, there's going to be bubbles popping up all over it. That's the best indicator. The sides will also start to brown, and it'll be very easy to get a spatula underneath it. Okay, I'm going to grab a plate real quick. Okay, let's get in there. Usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes a side, honestly. Second side will take a little bit less, maybe like a minute less, just because it's residually cooking through here right now. So like this is the only wet part of it actually. I like to use a really low temperature pan. You don't want it piping hot because you're gonna burn your pancakes that way. So you just want to be vigilant. Just make sure you don't burn the pancake. Like nobody likes burnt pancakes. First pancake is usually a tester just to see how everything's going. So we're gonna do this one, and then I'll show you the difference with the second one. Okay. So let me just take a look here. So that actually feels pretty good. So we're gonna flip. Okay. When you flip it, just do a nice quick motion underneath and once over. Don't be scared of it. Get under there and flip it. Okay, so that looks good. So you can sort of see on the edges here. See how the bubbles are forming there? That just means it's cooking. So this dough is actually a little bit thicker than I like to use. I'm gonna thin it up for the next one real quick. So like I said before, guys, the first pancake is usually a tester. This looks pretty good. So we're just gonna flip it again, see what's going on. Looks good, feels good. Okay. So it's actually done. So let's do it one more just to show you guys again. Okay, so you always want to grease the pan between every pancake you do, okay? So always add a little bit more. Oil, butter, whatever you're using. That's great. Okay. So bring your ladle with you. Don't make a mess of the kitchen. See how, okay, so you guys start to see the smoke coming out of the pan. That means my pan is a little hot right now. I'm gonna turn it down. So this pancake's gonna cook a little bit faster. Okay, the bubbles are already starting to form around the edge. Let me just sort of get the leftovers out. So see in the middle, there's a big bubble forming. Yeah, so when you're cooking pancakes, don't walk away from the stove. Like, I mean, if you have to go to the fridge to grab something, that's fine, but don't go start watching a show or something. These cook really fast. Okay, so there's my bubbles. Okay, there we go. See how beautifully brown it is? That looks gorgeous. That looks excellent right there. So that was really quick. That was about 1.5 minutes aside. Don't forget, you can always do small pancakes. Those are called silver dollar pancakes. You can do pancakes the size of this. Just be careful. They're really hard to flip. Okay, but that looks great. So this is cooking fast, so I'm just gonna check it. I'm gonna give it another minute on this side, another minute on that side, and we're basically done with that. And so that's homemade pancakes, honestly. I mean, they're really not hard, but you can tell the difference between this and a box, for real. Like, make this for your parents one night, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's really good." Like, it's a good recipe to have in your back pocket. Okay, guys, so that's a pancake right there. Okay. So those are pancakes. All right, guys, good deal. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. All right, guys, thanks. Have a good day. Okay?